Hello everyone, and welcome to 7th grade Math Module 3, Expressions and Equations. In this lesson, we're looking at an extra lesson on solving equations. Our learning goal is to use the properties of math to simplify and solve algebraic expressions. This will help us to master Standard 7 EEB3. Solve multi-step, real-life, and mathematical problems posed with positive and negative rational numbers in any form using tools strategically. In order to do this, it's important to remember all the things that we've learned before about solving equations in 6th grade. I have listed below the steps that you can use to solve any 7th grade level algebra problem. The first step is to distribute anywhere you can use the distributive property. The second step is to combine any like terms. The third step is to undo addition or subtraction with the inverse operation. Step 4 is to undo multiplication or division with the inverse operation. And step 5 is to check your answer. Today, we're going to be looking at 1 and 2 step equations, so we will only need to use steps 3 through 5 today. So remember when we're solving equations that the goal is to isolate the variable and get it by itself. In order to do this, you need to use the inverse operations. So for example, with the expression x plus 2, since we see addition, in order to solve this, if it were in an equation, we would have to subtract the 2. If y minus 5 was an expression that was part of an equation, since we see subtraction, we would do addition by adding 5. With s divided by 7, if that expression were in an equation, since we see division, we would do multiplication. Note with division that you would always multiply by the denominator of what you are dividing, the second number. So in this case, it would be 7. If you ever see your variable in your denominator, you will need to multiply by your denominator. But for most problems in 7th grade, this will not be the case. And then finally, for 3z, even though we don't see any operation symbols, because a coefficient is next to a variable, we have multiplication, so we would do division by dividing by 3. Now there's going to be 2 words that we're going to use, and we're looking at doing some sort of work with equations. One of those is evaluating. When evaluating an expression, we just use PEMDAS normally, our order of operations. So if we were evaluating 3p minus 6 when p is 2, we would replace the p with 2 by doing 3 times 2, and then we would subtract our 6 away, which gets us the number 0. When we are solving equations, we're actually going to use PEMDAS in reverse. We want to undo our addition or subtraction first, then undo our multiplication or division. So in the problem 3p minus 6 equals 0, first we would want to undo any addition or subtraction. So we would undo minus 6 by adding 6 to both sides of our equation. I like to write my work with each step on a separate line or section underneath what I just did, and with a line through my equal sign so that I remember to do the same thing on both sides of my equation to keep it balanced. So when I add 6 to minus 6, since those are opposites, they add to 0. So I'm left with 3p equals whatever 0 plus 6 is, which is 6. Now I see that the only operation left is multiplication between the 3 and the p. So I'm going to undo that multiplication by dividing by 3 on both sides of my equation. 3 divided by 3 equals 1 because they are multiplicative inverses. And then 6 divided by 3 is 2. So when I solve this equation here, I am left with p equals 2.